Hey, KK, it's so good to see you. We reconnected, gosh, pretty much decades ago because your kids were really small. You were living in Boulder, and I think I was in Arvada at the time. And so it's been years now. Your daughter has kids, and you're living in Boulder, not far from them, which is really cool. And I just wanted to reconnect because I have heard about your work with environmentalism, with environmental law. We just talked briefly, and I just want to hear more about what you're up to. And I think other people would be very interested in it as well.
Thanks, Nancy. Yeah, it's great to see you again too. And as you said, I think my daughter was a teenager and now she's getting closer to 40. And I have two grandkids, a 6 and a 9-year-old, and they live up the street. So that's great. And you and I talked a little bit, about, what's important in life. And obviously to me, especially because my kids lost their father when they were pretty young, is that I'm close to them and I'm helping them. So that's important. But another thing is I am still teaching, and my specialty is renewable energy law. I'm a professor at the University of Denver, Sturm College of Law. I've been teaching for almost 35 years.
Wow.
Um, but lately I've been focusing more on what can I do outside of academia to make a difference. And so I've been doing a lot of climate work. I just in June, I was in Washington, D.C. working for Citizens Climate Lobby,
Mm.
lobbying for legislation, bipartisan. It's a bipartisan group just trying to get people aware of climate and doing something, because I feel sort of like Cassandra saying, don't take that Trojan horse in, right? Is that no one
Right.
was listening for a long time, but people now that their homes are burning, fortunately, I've escaped any of the fires, but I have been evacuated here in Boulder.
Yep.
And, now that we're having floods and fires and all these things, I think people are waking up to, well, those scientists actually maybe knew what they were talking about. My
Yeah.
daughter actually works at the National Center for Atmospheric Research
Oh, wow.
and does sea ice, that's SEAICE
Okay.
melting
Okay. Wow.
modeling. So she's very aware. She's been to Antarctica and to the Arctic to look at that. So it's very close to home. I mean, I was aware of it before, but I feel like, I need to help the next generation deal with these issues. So, and because I guess I'm a lawyer and I've seen how things work, I want to go where the solutions can be done on a global scale, because each of us can do our little thing. But, if we get policies like the Inflation Reduction Act, then they can make a huge difference across the board. It's hard for everybody to pay attention to all the details. So if it helps if there's some grease on the skids to help people do the right thing. And I just moved into this house on my daughter's street last October, but I've already completely electrified my house,
Mm.
which means that I got rid of the gas heating and
Hmm.
I have what they call a heat pump that they both air conditions and heats. I've got a
Nice.
heat pump water heater. I've got solar panels. I've got a
Nice.
hybrid. I don't have an EV yet, but I'm doing all the things that I can do. I even have, an induction stove. I love it. Anybody who thinks they're wedded to gas and breathing the emissions should try an induction stove because they're very responsive. They're not like old electric stoves, and even electric fireplace. So I feel like
Wow.
I'm become a not a prophet, but an advocate for these things, because I think they're also important. And it's nice that my work of teaching and being able to write about renewable energy and cutting edge. One of my latest articles was on microgrids. I don't know if you know what those are, but they're
Yeah.
a way for you to be, well, with all the power shutoffs in California and things like that, they're a way for you to continue to have power because our life has become so electric, even our toothbrushes, right?
Yeah.
Um, is that it helps to have some kind of backup. And I actually think there's going to be a huge revolution with electric vehicles, because I don't know if you've heard of a Tesla Powerwall, but that's what people put in their homes. But
Mm.
your vehicle will be like 3 or 4 Tesla Powerwalls. So you're driving around with batteries all the time.
Hmm.
And in an emergency, you could just connect that into your house. And they're working on that technology now.
Hmm.
So part of what I think my position has been is I coordinate a group called the Colorado Solar and Storage Coalition. Most of it's scientists. My son's a scientist doing uh, revolutionary battery work, trying to get electricity off of carbon radiation. And these people are always talking about these wonderful cutting edge technologies. So I'm so excited about the technology. We just need to get the policy to catch up and make those differences. So I'm just, super busy. I'm still working. I'm still teaching because it's fun. I love working with young people, and I get to work with smart young people. So how can you beat that? One of my colleagues said he taught English in high school and the kids were climbing out the windows, but when students are in law school, they're paying attention. So
Oh, that's terrific. No, this is excellent. I'm really inspired. And again, I think the fact that you're still doing this work and the fact that you've raised these two, bright young people who are following in this same path. I mean, I was in environmental studies coordinate program, wasn't a major course, but and you were in geology. And I just thought maybe we could end you when we were talking, you gave a really nice tribute to Bud Wobus, and I thought maybe we could just kind of end with that.
that sounds great. Yes. I want to just thank Bud. Hopefully he'll be watching this, but we'll see. Even if he doesn't, any of you know Bud. We were the first co-ed class, as we all know. I was the first woman geologist after undergrad in the French company. So worldwide, they didn't even know they'd hired a woman, KK DuVivier. They just thought it was another Frenchman. So I've been sort of a pioneer in this, but Bud was always so encouraging. I've heard other people might have been discouraged. You're not supposed to be, women aren't supposed to be in it. And Bud even took me on a field trip to British Columbia, and we were in a mine where the miners were not happy to have a woman in the mine, but
Wow.
he was always so encouraging. So, I want to say that he made a big difference for me. I thought geology was going to be my bread and butter, and I worked in museums and then as a field geologist. And then I went to law school, and for a while, English was my bread and butter because I was a double major, English and geology.
Hmm?
But now I'm doing this, law that combines them both. And that's the beauty too of Williams, is that, you have this liberal arts education and you can keep pivoting into different positions and still be learning all the time, which is what I love too.
Absolutely. And you're still writing all the time. So you're writing, your English major is really helping too, because
That's right.
that's what,
Exactly.
as somebody that, I believe so much in the power of the word. And yeah, so thank you so much, KK, for sharing this. And I wish you all the best. Maybe we'll see each other in Boulder sometime.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nancy. Great to see you, and shout out to everybody in our class.
Take care. Bye-bye now.